So let me tell you something very interesting. While the BJP is officially here, the Congress doesn't want to speak on this issue, Sabha. This will interest you because I think they feel that this sort of polarization and quoting a Manmohan Singh speech that's very hard to explain to people what he actually said, what he actually meant, could go against its interest. Now, we've spoken about the Manmohan Singh speech. It's about a 57-second reference. I'm going to play all of it. It starts with talking about OBCs, SC, STs, women, backward classes. It ends, Abhijit is accurate on that. It ends with a reference that says, particularly Muslims. Let's listen in and we can discuss former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's speech.
I believe our collective priorities are clear. Agriculture, irrigation and water resources, health, education, critical investment in rural infrastructure, and the essential public investment needs of general infrastructure, along with programs for the uplift of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, minorities, and women and children. The component plans for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes will need to be revitalized. We will have to devise innovative plans to ensure that minorities, particularly the Muslim minority, are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on our resources.
So can I join in here? So,
Sure.
Barkha, yeah, very first of all, the context in which I'm not defending, but I'm just informing. It was after the Sachar Commission report, if you recall. That is the context in which Manmohan Singh gave the speech. I, as a political, first of all, Sanjay, let's be clear. I'm not an activist, nor am I speaking for a party. I'm a journalist. And I will observe the Modi phenomena from the perspective of being that. You know, I'm not going to just go and give a subjective viewpoint. I may, of course, I have subjective viewpoints which cloud my judgment, but let's be clear about that. So I'm a journalist and I'm quite well informed on the Bharatiya Janata Party, and I'm seeing this. So what I think has happened here, why has the Prime Minister done this now, is that tactically the Congress is correct not to respond to this, Barkha. Just as if you recall, Arvind Kejriwal now in jail in 2020 during that second assembly election, which took place in the backdrop of Shaheen Bagh and those riots. He refused to say Hindu Muslim and he won. So the BJP always tries to ensnare people into a big narrative of Hindu and Muslim. So when an election has become localized, which is what has happened in places like Rajasthan and shockingly to me, in the first phase seats of Uttar Pradesh. Shockingly. So it was Uttar Pradesh, I thought, would be a cakewalk. It is not so. In fact, tomorrow I am going to go to one second phase seat just to clarify this. Is this for true? Is this true? What is, so the BJP has been caught unawares. I believe in Bihar, but I cannot speak with certainty about what exactly. Then people tell me from Maharashtra, also it's not going well. So they are trying to again create that narrative. In Delhi, if I go back to the Delhi example, if you remember, you had ministers saying Goli Maro Salo Ko and all that, but AAP didn't walk into the trap.
So you believe that Prime Minister, but you believe the Prime Minister
setting a Hindu-Muslim narrative, he's basically saying, what is important, Amit Shah backs it up with another speech somewhere. They are saying, if the Congress wins, they are the ones who are talking about the possibility of a Congress win. If the Congress wins, then Musalman will again be in power and they will get Mangal Sutra le jayenge. Ye keh rahe hain. This is what is being said. Let's understand it. It's very it is obviously against Muslims. That is what is happening here. Yeah.
Sanjay, here's the question about this Manmohan Singh speech. It's not the first time it's come up. And in fact, even in 2006, when it came up, the government had to issue a clarification that's been pulled out by congressmen and women today and shared on social media to say that no, he didn't mean only Muslims. It was obviously not exactly a well-drafted presentation, that can be said, because the Congress has to repeatedly keep explaining how it's being partially quoted, misquoted, and so on, right? Do you want to come in on the fact that the BJP is using strategy here, and the Congress's strategy is to duck the debate. So actually, you're coming all guns blazing, but your party or the party you support is actually ducking it. It's sidestepping this debate. I met Malika
Yeah.
Arjun Kharge right now. Just a small detail. I met Mr. Kharge right now at a rally here, and I put a mic in front of him and I asked him to react to what Prime Minister Modi is said, and he pushed the mic away and he didn't, not because he had any problem with me, he didn't want to comment on this issue other than the cursory tweets they've done. They're ducking this debate.
Barkha, very quickly, I think Mr. Kharge, in fact, has been very vocal on it. His
It's
speech
been a
yesterday.
tweet. It's a tweet, and they don't want you to have a long life now. They want this
No,
issue to be buried.
but this is far from being buried. This is now going to get into an issue of the matter being taken to the election commission, and of course this will be in the public, shall we say, consciousness for a long time to come. In fact, I think what everybody is pointing out is the reality that India's prime minister is openly and brazenly indulging in a very dangerous, diabolical game of communal hate. And I want to make a point here, Barkha, because I was the official spokesperson of the Congress party, and I've debated this, by the way, not for the first time, several times, even before 2014. And I remember having a conversation with the people at that point when I was in Delhi to ask about the details before I went public. And here is the point, Barkha, and you are a very respected journalist, so I want to tell this on your show. Others will interrupt me. Look at the text. We are all, people who are well versed with the language. The Mr. Dr. Manmohan Singh's statement starts by talking about the upliftment of SC, STs, other backward classes, minorities, women, and children, right? Then he expands that statement, and then he goes on to say that particularly the Muslim minority, because they've suffered, and Sabha is right, it was with reference to also to the Sachar Committee report, and are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. Now, here is the line that the BJP is being mischievous with. When he says they must have the first claim on resources, Dr. Manmohan Singh was referring to everybody referred to earlier, not just to the Muslims. He was referring to the SCs,
But he
STs,
does
women,
say
OBCs.
particularly,
That
he
is the
does
truth.
say, but he does say in his last line, minorities, particularly Muslims. He
But you're
does say
missing the
that.
point. Yeah,
No,
yeah. But
I'm
he
not.
goes on to,
I played the speech. How am I missing the point? I played that speech.
yeah. But he says they, when he says they must have the first claim on resources, it is both presumptuous, wicked, vile, and extremely, I would say, self-suiting and opportunistic for Mr. Iyer and Mr. Chaube and anybody else to believe that he meant Muslims. If that was the case, he would actually be talking about Muslims and not even referring to the others. Now, here is the second point. Mr. Modi's 2014 tenure. Let's not try and be pussyfooting around here. Okay, I'm not a journalist, so unlike Sabha, I don't have the predicament of trying to be giving a false equivalency.
It's
The
not a
term, the link,
predicament. It's our job.
just
Sorry to come
yeah,
in for Sabha here, but our job is not to let our audience know who we vote for. That is the
exactly.
job of a
No,
good journalist.
no.
A good
My
journalist
statement is different.
cannot
My
be
statement
read
is different.
for their political affiliation. I still
Barkha,
believe
but
that. Yes.
Barkha, my statement is different. There are times when you can't indulge in a false equivalency. Lynching deaths have happened since Modi became prime minister. A call for genocide of Muslims has happened since Modi became prime minister.
Okay. Okay.
Muslims have been frightened has happened since
Okay.
Mr. Modi became prime minister.
Can I get
It's a
topic now?
fact. Can we deny
Okay.
that? Can
Okay. Let's
anybody
get.
deny it?
I,
Bilkis Banu, just one last example. Bilkis Banu gang raped in the 2002 Gujarat riots when Mr. Modi was the chief minister, gets released. Her rapists get released on an Independence Day celebrations when Mr. Modi is the prime minister. Can you see the coincidence there?
Okay, let me. I think you've said a lot. As far as the speech is concerned, that's why we played out the full speech. Indeed, Dr. Manmohan Singh starts with a reference to women, other backward classes, women and children, SCSTs, religious minorities, and then at the end of the paragraph, he says minorities, particularly Muslims. Now, Abhijit, and then Ashwini ji. Abhijit, you were nodding in disagreement when Sanjay Jha was speaking. Go ahead.
I would just first, Barkha, with your permission, request Ria to bring up the graphic that I sent her, which is the transcript of the speech.
Okay,
Transcript
can we
of the
please do
operative
that?
paragraph of the speech.
Okay,
Ria,
if Ria can please bring that up, or if you can tell us where it is. Shirali, Ria, if you can please bring it up. Abhijit, I'm sure they'll bring it up. It's on WhatsApp,
Okay.
so it'll take a
Now,
second for them to share screen. Yeah.
I've actually marked this out thematically
Yeah.
out there in the speech. Now, you see, the problem with what Sanjay is saying is it's very easy to convince somebody of the IQ of Rahul Gandhi that what he's saying is accurate. It takes a bit more when you're convincing people with a significantly higher IQ. Now, there were 5 parts in that one paragraph, 5 themes. The first part was, I believe our collective priorities, public infrastructure, etc. Comma, within the same sentence, the second part of it was, along with programs for the upliftment of SC, STs, other backward classes, minorities, women, and children. These 5 categories were mentioned. Full stop. The next sentence was a complete standalone and a break. It said the component plans for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes will need to be revitalized. Complete thematic break, very specific to SCs and STs only out there. Already at this point, the other 4 sections have been divorced from this particular sentence, which is the backward classes, the minorities, the women, and the children. Okay. Next, he comes to the operative part of what we are talking about. We will have to divide.
Here's your speech on the screen. There
Thank
it
you.
is.
Now,
Okay.
if you look at the
Yes.
green part, now if you look at the yellow part, that is where the complete thematic and grammatical and syntax break happens in that thing. That is a total standalone sentence out there. Next, you come to the green part. We will have to devise innovative plans to ensure that minorities, particularly the Muslim minority, are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on resources. Now, if Sanjay claims this applied to the people in blue, how is it that yellow completely breaks the flow?
Can I ask
You
a
see,
question?
this
Can I ask a
violates
question?
every single principle
Let
of
me answer him, Barkha. Let me
I
answer
have a
him.
question. I have a
Let me
question of
answer him.
Abhijit. Sanjay, 1 minute. Sanjay, 1 minute. Let him finish his point.
Yeah.
Abhijit, go ahead. Yeah.
Either, see, this is the whole problem. He is also contradicting. Manmohan Singh is contradicted in this particular paragraph. He is also contradicted the his Rahul Gandhi's own slogan of Jitna Abadi Utna Haq. Because understand, Muslims are 14.2%, SCs are 16.6%, OBCs are 41%. So even if he assumes, let's assume Sanjay is right and I am wrong and it applies to all of them, the very word particularly Muslims means you will prioritize them over 41% OBCs, you will prioritize them over 16.6% SCs, and you have to be particularly low IQ like Rahul Gandhi to believe all this.
Barkha, right to
Okay.
rejoinder.
Yeah. Right to rejoinder, but with one brief question to Abhijit from me. I believe that it was a clumsily drafted speech, I think. But I do believe that they wouldn't start with women, OBCs, children, SC, STs if they wanted a Muslim focused speech. Do you grant that, Abhijit?
No, I don't, because then why would they add particularly, Barkha? See, I agree with you. If it was clumsily drafted, they should just come out and said, we're sorry, it was clumsily drafted. This is not what we meant. You look at Sanjay, he's not even in his party and he's doubling down to defend this drivel.
Okay.
Because some of us.
Sanjay, briefly, Ashwini
Barkha, let me come here.
Yeah,
Barkha,
okay.
let me come
Sanjay
here.
Jha, then Ashwini ji. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I don't comment on people personally. Abhijit, I don't comment on you personally. I think just yeah.
No,
So
he
don't
called
worry
us
about
dribbles.
don't worry about me and my party. Yeah.
He didn't
Don't worry
comment
about
on
me and my
you,
party.
but he didn't comment on you. He didn't comment on you. He only commented on the speech. He called the speech drivel. Nothing to do with you. Please.
No, he doesn't
go
have
ahead.
to worry about my ideological commitment and what the Congress
Come on.
does.
Stay on point. Stay on point.
Yeah. So here is my point. Can anybody deny? I have read, by the way, detailed, not just the Sachar committee report. I have read a lot of stuff on how minorities are handled in this country. We don't come here talking through the hat, indulging in rhetoric. So here is a fact, Barkha. Can anybody deny on your program? Can any viewer of your program deny that amongst the minorities in this country, the Muslims are more worse off than anybody else? And therefore, as a responsible democratic prime minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh said, what is the truth? And what is the truth, Barkha? That amongst the minorities, the Muslims are the worst off.
But then own
there
the
is nothing
statement.
wrong.
But then own the statement. Don't deny the statement. You can't both deny the statement and not own, you can't both own the statement and deny the statement.
No, actually, come to think of it, I'll tell you why you're wrong. in this case, he's wrong. He's right on both counts. There is an acknowledgement that amongst the minorities, the Muslims are the more worst off, and therefore they will need an extra degree of treatment. But to assume, and that's what the BJP, Mr. Mitra and other people are doing, is to blanket send an impression that, hang on, this is just saying that the Muslims have the first right to resources. That is the real problem, right? The BJP is saying that the Muslims have the first right to resources. Actually, it is not just the Muslims, it is the minorities, it is the scheduled caste, it is the scheduled tribe, it is the women, it is the children.
I must
That
get
is the
Ashwini
truth.
ji. I must get
Enough
Ashwini
of the
ji.
lies.
Okay,
Enough of the
Ashwini
fake news. Enough of the post-truth.
अश्विनी जी, मोदी जी ने एक रेफरेंस दिया जो मैं एग्जैक्ट वर्ड्स याद नहीं, पर उन्होंने कहा जो बच्चे ज्यादा पैदा करते हैं। अब इस पे एसवाई कुरैशी की एक किताब है पॉपुलेशन मिथ, उन्होंने जो आंकड़े दिए हैं मैं आपके सामने रखना चाह रही हूँ। उन्होंने कहा है कि जब पॉलीगमी की बात आती है तो एक्चुअली ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज में पॉलीगमी सबसे ज्यादा होती है और हिंदूज और मुसलमान की कम्युनिटी में ज्यादा अंतर नहीं है। फिर वो कहते हैं कि वो मानते हैं कि एक डेमोग्राफिक चेंज हुआ है, वो कहते हैं 4.2% increase in Muslim population, but Muslims can never outnumber Hindus. By 2100 they projected to be 18% of population. मैं इसलिए ये आंकड़े आपके सामने रख रही हूँ कि ये जो रेफरेंस था टू इनफिल्ट्रेटर्स, इंट्रूडर्स, चलिए मनमोहन सिंह की स्पीच दो राय हो सकते हैं, पर ये जो रेफरेंसेस थे इनका हम कैसे इनको रीड करें? घुसपैठ, जो बच्चे ज्यादा पैदा करती है, आंकड़े मैं आपके सामने रख रही हूँ।
बरखा जी, देखिए, मनमोहन सिंह जी के बयान को अभी स्पीच जो अंग्रेजी में दिखाई गई थी, मैं चाहता हूं कि आपका इंग्लिश चैनल है मगर मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूं, तो मैं चाहता हूं कि हिंदी वाले दर्शकों को भी कम से कम आपके चैनल से ये पता चले कि जो संजय जी आप अभी कह रहे हैं, या तो भाई एग्री होइए या डिसएग्री होइए, संजय जी दोनों तरफ है, मीठा मीठा गप गप कड़ुआ कड़ुआ तू। हिंदी में उसका एक सेंटेंस का जो रूपांतरण होता है कि समाज के सभी पिछड़े और अल्पसंख्यक वर्गों, विशेषकर मुसलमानों, जो पर्टिकुलरली मुसलमानों की बात अभिजीत जी कर रहे थे, आप कर रही थी, विशेषकर मुसलमानों को उनके बराबर की हिस्सेदारी सुनिश्चित करने के लिए सशक्तिकरण किए जाने की आवश्यकता है। तो जब विशेषकर जब लाल निशान लगा देंगे, आप अंडरलाइन मुसलमानों के लिए कर देंगे, तो आपको कहना पड़ेगा ना कि हाँ हमने किया है। देश में संजय जी नेहरू जी के जमाने से हो रहा था, जब जा रहे थे सोमनाथ में जो है राजेंद्र बाबू, तो उनको हिंदू कहा जा रहा था, तो वो सांप्रदायिकता और वो सेकुलरिज्म उस समय नजर नहीं आया था किसी को। आज आपको वो नजर आ रही है कि जो है किस तरीके से बिल्किस बानो की बात है। आपको ये करना चाहिए कि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री 2014 के बाद जब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी नरेंद्र मोदी जी बने, तो उन्होंने उड़ान योजना की शुरुआत की, फ्री कोचिंग देते हैं महिलाओं को। इस योजना की जानकारी आप देश को नहीं देंगे। हजारों लाखों लड़कियों को, लड़कों को फ्री कोचिंग दी जा रही है, 1,500 से 3,000 रुपए उनको पैसे दिए जाते हैं। शादी सगुन योजना, उनकी शादी में 51,000 रुपए दिए जाते हैं बरखा जी। उस्ताद योजना, मुस्लिम कारीगरों को ज्यादा और कुशल बनाया जा रहा है। सीखो और कमाओ योजना, ये उनके लिए, बाकी ये सब नहीं, सबको पता नहीं है। जो स्वरोजगार में सीखो और कमाओ पर्टिकुलर मुस्लिम लोगों के लिए ये किया गया है। ईदी योजना है, ईदी योजना में 5 करोड़ छात्रों को जो है छात्रवृत्ति दी जाती है। 5 करोड़, याद रखिएगा, एक अच्छी खासी संख्या होती है 5 करोड़ छात्रों की। नई मंजिल, स्कूल छोड़ने वालों के लिए, जो स्कूल छोड़ देते हैं उन बच्चों को कौशल विकास में ले जाया जाता है। 3 तलाक हमने उनके लिए किया ही। तो हमने जब उनके लिए किया है ये चीजें, तो आप आज कह रहे हैं कि वो पर्टिकुलर मुस्लिम के लिए नाम ले रहे हैं। ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा करने वाले, आप देख लिए 2011 में सेंसेक्स हुआ था बरखा जी, ये सेंसेक्स उस समय का है। ये रेशियो जो बच्चे पैदा करने का है, किसके पास ज्यादा है, हिंदू के पास है या मुस्लिम के पास है? ये आप रेशियो निकाल लीजिए, अपने आप पता चल जाएगा कि किसके ज्यादा बच्चे पैदा होते हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने क्या कहा है, उस सेंसेक्स पर जाइए और जो आज रेशियो है उस रेशियो में निकाल लीजिए। आज ही, मैं दूर नहीं जाऊंगा, एक मुसलमानों के बड़े मसीहा हैं ओवैसी जी, वो गिना रहे थे कि हमारा ये रेशियो है, हिंदुओं का हमसे कम है। उन्होंने कहा, जब उनके मुंह से कहा आपने, जो आदमी जहर उगलता है दिन भर, वो आज नेशनल टेलीविजन पर एक मोबाइल हाथ में लेकर रेशियो पढ़ रहे थे। तो ये देखना जरूरी है कि जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा है उसको राहुल जी से और मनमोहन सिंह जी से कैसे जोड़ा जाएगा और कांग्रेस से कैसे जोड़ा जाएगा कि कांग्रेस ने हमेशा मुसलमानों के हक की बात की।